Hello, I'm Shira Rosen, and I'll be talking today about different directions to develop eco-friendlier packaging and how it is the best way to choose the packaging sustainability strategy suitable for your company. But before I begin, one slide about myself. I'm 27 years in the packaging field. Out of those, 7 years in Unilever and 18 years as head of the packaging development department in Strauss Group. I'm also the chairman of the Packaging Institute in Israel. For the last 2 years, I opened my own consultancy called PackTech, consulting about sustainability and innovation and efficiency in packaging. And I also teach the packaging field in the Food and Biotechnology Engineering faculty in the Technion. So once upon a time, we didn't have any burden with packaging. As Mother Nature developed a very sustainable packaging from renewable materials and compostable. It also easy peel comes in bunches as a multi-pack, and very smart as it reflects us a level of ripeness of the banana, telling us when is the best time to eat it. But not for the modern life, it's not always enough. For example, if we want to extend shelf life, I don't know if you know, but you can extend shelf life by covering the edges of the banana by 7 to 10 days. Or buy different levels of banana in the same packaging. So here you need an extra packaging. Also, if you want to drink banana shake or want to take it on the go and want to prevent it from smashing in your bag, then also you need an extra packaging. Communication today is very important, and we need to deliver a lot of information, especially a lot of regulations. So here again, we need to add some packaging decoration. And of course, if we want to connect to the digital world, to all the smart applications, then also here we need to add elements to the natural packaging. And if we want to transport it to different parts of the world, then here also we need a transportation packaging that will protect the packaging from all the chain value. So we see that packaging is necessary, and if we analyze all the needs, then we see that we have like 3 levels of needs. The basic one is the functional needs that I talked about, the containment, the protection, the preservation for longer shelf life, and of course, the safety of the consumers. Then we have the cognitive needs that are consumer wants transparency and build trust and convenience while using the product, and also enjoy it by fun. And the last level, of course, is the engagement. And all of these 3 are very important for the packaging. So packaging is necessary, but what can we do to make it more sustainable? I analyzed it to 4 different approaches. The first one is designed for optimization. That here we talked about the functionality, that it has to preserve and protect the product. Otherwise, we will have the product and the packaging will turn into a waste. We want to extend the shelf life. And also here we have options of decreasing the packaging itself, but also the waste or the consumption or the energy and water that is put into the process. I'll talk about it. Then we have the second approach, which talks about responsible sourcing. Plastic is not a renewable source, so we had to invent, not we, but everybody, renewable resources that come from the nature or recyclable materials that are also can be renewed until a certain amount. And of course, prevent from harmful substances coming into the packaging. The third approach is the circular economy. The most circular is the reusable, that you can reuse it as much as you want. Then there is the recycling or the energy recovery, that you bring in as responsible resource sourcing at the end of the process. And the biodegradable and compostable that comes back as compost. The last one is the non-disposable packaging, that here also we have the reusable option, edible packaging, and non-soluble and water-soluble packaging. But it's not so easy. The optimum would be to have less packaging, less waste, less risk, less disposal, more reusability, more recyclability, more using recycled materials and renewable materials and biodegradable or compostable materials. But they are trade-offs, not all go together. For example, if we go down with the weight of the packaging, then if we go down too much, it will turn out to be waste. It will smash in the, or damage in the, through the chain value. It can't be reusable if it's too thin, because then it will also not sustain a lot of cycles. Usually reusable packaging are more robust. And of course, we know also that recycled materials are downgraded to the recycling process, and then it doesn't go together with going down with the packaging. Usually the opposite, or stay with the same weight of packaging. Another sample is biodegradable and compostable, usually are not suitable for recycling. So you have to choose which option you want, or do a couple of options offer. For example, look at the CocaCola. They offer different solutions. For example, the first one on the left is a more recyclable packaging. They took off the colors, and they are suited to bottle recycling. They also declare that some of their packaging are 100% from recycled materials, and they have an option also for 100% from plant-based. If you use also not plant-based, but paper-based packaging, not 100%, but like I think 70 or 80% of the bottle is based off paper. The cans are also can be recycled and can come as a recycled version. The glass water and bottle is reusable, of course, but here you have to have the system that collects. So we usually see it in restaurants. And the last one, a nice gimmick, is a bottle from ice that is non-disposable, but is used only in beaches and selling on the spot, and can't be transported a lot in the chain value. Another sample is the capsules, that here we have options to recycle and to be recycled. We see options of compostable capsules, that it's very hard to reach it, as capsules need a very high barrier to oxygen. And the last one is reusability to other uses. This is a necklace that my mother did from capsules. When we talked about optimization, the 4 less, so it can be going down in the packaging, but sometimes I call it more is less. We go up in the packaging weight, but we prevent waste wall, the chain value, and sometimes it's more valuable. Looking also at all the chain value, how much energy and water is put inside, and try to go down in it. And less usage of the product itself to prevent waste. For example, once the whole of the toothpaste was bigger to take out more material, now they're looking to use the exact amount you need and not to waste also the product itself. So how can you choose which is the best approach? I suggest to look at the 3 pillars. One is the impact. How much impact does the change do to the earth in terms of emissions, landfill, resource consumption? Look at all the trade-offs. How much does it protect and preserve the product or the functionality? If it's available, this also comes together with the feasibility. When we're talking about feasibility, of course, is the chosen option, is the available material. For example, now it's very hard to find good recycled materials. Sometimes it's much more expensive. Of course, safety, also knowledge, technology in infrastructure in the company, but also, for example, if we want to recycle, it's not enough to develop a recycled material. We have to have all the infrastructure that collects, knows how to source and reprocess the material. So we're talking about feasibility. And of course, that it has to suit the brand's strategy, the brand's value or the product's value, the consumer perceptions, that he understands the offer of the sustainability, to understand all the trade-offs, and to have a right business model. And the last one is to know to communicate the change. To all the chain value, I'm going again and again about all looking holistically about the whole chain value. So these are the 3 pillars that you have to analyze and to choose the best options that can suit you. If, for example, you use recyclability, you have to make sure that it can be recycled in your country. Are the consumers, do they understand and cooperate and put it in the right bin? Are there existing collecting infrastructures that collect the right bins in the area? The sorting is the most important. It's 80% out of the quality of the recycled materials. And if you don't have the right sorting option that can detect which kind of material it is, the packaging will not reach the right reprocessing plant and won't be recycled and even interfere other materials. Of course, not every material is recycled. It has to fit the recycling infrastructure. And of course, I'm talking here about mechanical recycling. For chemical recycling, it's much easier. You don't, for the materials to design a packaging, more monomaterials, not necessarily monomaterials, and it's open for other materials. But also there, you have to make sure that there is the systems for it and that it can be cleaned properly. And in the end of the day, is there a demand for the recycled materials? Then they will open more reprocessing plants and reach consistency and quality, and if required, full approval. So it's not enough only to design a recycled material, but to make sure that it has the whole system to to recycle it. And then it depends on what end of use. Is it bottle to bottle, or is it for different purpose, or is it energy recovery? Then it depends on how you design the packaging. Today, there are all kind of new technologies helping for sorting to detect the right packaging. For example, I believe you heard about Holy Grail that uses smart technologies to detect what kind of packaging it is. And then also here you have to make sure that there is the infrastructure of high resolution cameras that can detect and read the watermarks that are on the packaging and decode the information. So also here, they are developing a lot of technologies, but you have to make sure that it works for all the system. Smart technologies can be also used to reflect information to the consumer, or is the packaging recyclable? What kind of material? Which kind of bin should he put it in? So if we look in the recycle system, we need all the stakeholders to work together. The producer to design the right packaging that can be recycled, and also put inside his use recycled materials and even recycled system for post-industrial recycling. The consumer also to cooperate to buy more recycled materials, and of course, at the end of his use, to put it in the right bin. We talked about the recycling systems that have to have the whole system to recycle, and the regulations that will make it clear and push everyone towards more recycling. If we move on to the reusability, it's a very nice idea. I remember getting reusable milk bottles to our door and then putting it in the end and collected by the milkman. But here this trend is coming back, but it's not all easy. It's easier when it's refillable, but then only part of the packaging is reusable and part is not. If it's returnable, then you have to have a collecting system. And what kind of collecting system and washing system is there? It needs extra infrastructure and process. Do you have to make the packaging more robust for being reusable? Usually, yes. And how many cycles can you use in this packaging? So it's a lot of thought put into designing a reusable packaging, and I brought only few questions to be asked when designing it. This is a sample of a great company, SodaStream, that I have the privilege also to work with them. It's a consultant. Once it was a medium company in Israel, but once they understood that they have a very high value of reusability, then they did this brilliant ad that they put one family, 5 years, 70,050 bottles and cans can be replaced with this one bottling machine. And of course, PepsiCo bought them a few years ago, and now they're a very known and big company. Here, as e-commerce also developed a Loop, a very nice system of e-commerce packaging that is more robust packaging, as you can see, but are reusable, and also the transport packaging that can keep the temperature and protect, and all is collected and reusable. But here you see you need a special business model. Here's another interesting business model that took it from renting bicycles using RFID on the cups that can collect the information. If we talk about refillable, then there are smart solutions like this that you add the water in at home, and most of the packaging is reusable, and you only buy the filling on the bottom, and once you connect it, it dissolves in the water and can be reused. Very nice idea. Refillable here is a solution that combines also compostable materials, and what is nice that you don't have to clean after use. You just throw the refillable that can be composted. But also here, if you use pulp, for example, that is renewable and compostable, usually pulp doesn't go together with liquids, doesn't have any barrier. So here is a company also that I work with, Reusable, that they developed a secret sauce you do with the waste of pulp. It's patented, and then it doesn't dissolve the water and the oil, and it can be heated. It also can be put in the freezer at temperatures from -4 to 270. And also when you develop, you have to verify it and do tests. So they did the compostable tests and food safe, and make sure that all the baddies are not inside, like the BPA, and so it will make it food safe. So developing, you also have to verify it in the end. The last option is the edible packaging, materials that can be all dissolved in water and then drank or eaten. This is from, I think, wax, or it can be wax or other materials that can be eaten, not always very tasty. And also you have to make sure that if you don't want it to get dirty, then you have to have an outside packaging to contain it that is not edible. But it can also be a sustainable solution. So we talked about the different approaches, and to measure it, usually the best way is to do a packaging life cycle analysis that analyzes all the materials and the resources that come in and all that goes out, and in which way, whether recycling, compostable, landfill, or energy recovery, or doesn't go, or it's a circular economy, and look at all the stages from sourcing the material to manufacturing the material and the packaging itself, then distributing it, the way of using it, and the end of life, and see what is the impact. So we talked about all the options, the 4 options: the design for optimization, the responsible resourcing, circular economy, and non-disposal. And we talked how is the best way to choose through all the 3 pillars of impact, feasibility, brand strategy, and how to check it, all of it. So here my lecture comes to its end. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much.